welcome back. Today I'm doing another brow tutorial, but we're gonna put two brow products to the test in this one. So I'm gonna show you how I've been doing my brows with the Refy Brow Sculpt, but also with the Anastasia Brow Freeze. So I've been practicing with these two for, I wanna say a month or two now, trying to really perfect the brow process for me and just learning how to work with different brow products. And then at the end, you can tell me which one you prefer the most. So with that said, let's get started. I'm gonna use the Refy Brow Sculpt first. So this is in the clear, like no color or anything. The Refy Brow product is really cool because the product is in here, and then on the other end of the cap, you pull it open and the brush and comb is on the other side. I love that design. I think that's really cool and it makes it really convenient. So when I use this, I actually do this as a first step in my makeup routine before my foundation or base product because this does have a little bit of residue that can stick around the edges of your eyebrows, so it just makes cleaning things up a little bit easier. I wanted to have my makeup on for this video, so I'm just gonna have to work around that. So first I'm just going to coat my brows and work the product through. You can brush it downwards if your brows are a little bit more stubborn so that you can coat every strand, but you also have to remember, because the more product you use, the more residue there is, and it might be harder to work with later on. So then I just let it dry for a little bit. Let me coat the other brows really quickly. Now I'm going to take the other side with a brush, and I'm using the bristle brush part of it. I actually don't use this comb ever. It just doesn't work for my brows. Brush it up, starting in the front, and you want to press it against your skin. And then I'm gonna brush the top across like this. This brow always ends up a bit more rounded for some reason, so I try to make sure they're evened out. And then for the tail end, I like it to be lifted a bit and then also kind of brushed downwards. I know some people just like it brushed up and back, but because my brow hairs are so stubborn and coarse, it doesn't always stay up, especially with my bangs now. It kind of just rubs it and it starts to fall down. So I try to brush it in the way that it would naturally grow. And then for the front, you can brush some hairs forward so that it looks a bit more natural, like right here. And there is some residue right here on the outside edges of my brows, so I usually clean that up with Q-tip and micellar water, or just regular water works. I don't like using makeup remover to do this step because makeup remover is a little too oily sometimes, and it can kind of spread and ruin the product around where you put it. And then I just like to go in with my concealer brush that has leftover product on it and just blend whatever's left. To fill in my brows, I actually like to use a brow pencil with the Refy Brow Sculpt. I love the Sephora retractable brow pencil. I'm in the shade Ebony. I am actually all out. It's completely gone. I have to get a new one, but this is a really great formula. It's a really thin pencil. It just makes filling brows in really easy, and you get this really soft look when I use it with the brow sculpt. Because I don't have that anymore, I'm going to use this one from Benefit. This is the Precisely My Brow in the shade number 6, and this is also a really thin, soft brow pencil. So I like to start in the middle of the brow and work my way back, and just making light strokes in the direction of the brow hairs, just going upwards. And then towards the front, I like drawing it lightly across to create a little bit more definition. And I'm going with a pretty light hand, and then for the more sparse areas, I'll go with a little bit of a heavier hand. My brows are darker in some areas where there's more hair or where certain strands clump together. I don't really mind that. Some days when it's a little too much, I do go in and separate it with like a really sharp tool, but just be careful when you're using sharp tools. You can also use like pointed tweezers to separate the hairs if you really wanted to. So I'm gonna stop here and work on this brow, and then I'll come back and touch up the tail ends. I just want to make sure that they kind of angle the same way. So I kind of messed up right here, so I'm just taking a flat brush and have some leftover concealer and just swiping it back and forth so that it just cleans up the area a little bit. And I also use the spoolie to just soften it up. I need a closer mirror so I can really see Okay, I'm just going to leave it at that because I could spend forever like nitpicking at every little detail, but this is what it looks like. Okay, so I'm gonna use the Anastasia Brow Freeze now. This is a styling wax and I use a spoolie for this first. I was able to angle the spoolie so that I could dip it into the pot because it is really difficult to get the product out if your spoolie is straight. Grab the product like this because I don't want too much. It's good to start with less product and build it up rather than overdo it. Brush it up and then sideways. I think I've actually been using the Brow Freeze more and have just been preferring it because there's way less residue that comes off of it. I don't really have to clean up anything after I use this. I think it's a lot of trial and error with learning how much product you need for your brows. For this, you can also use a brow pencil, but I actually prefer to use the Anastasia Dip Brow. It just works better, I think, together. Very much love this product. It just dries out so quickly, which is unfortunate. So I'm gonna use the Inglot Duraline solution and just do like a drop in there. You don't need much. And then I'm gonna use the Sigma Winged Liner Brush in E06, a really fine tip brush, and it's just perfect for making brow hair strokes and everything. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit and then clean off the excess on the lid. Okay, I'm gonna start in the middle and just do very light strokes again to fill in those sparse areas and give my brows a bit more shape. And I pretty much do like the same motion that I use with a brow pencil. I'll go back and then in the front I'll go straight across. For the front, because it's a little bit more empty, I like to do up and down strokes like this to mimic brow hairs. So I just keep re-upping on the product and filling it in. What I like about both of these products, if you watch my other brow tutorials, like I have to use something like this to push the brows up and back, like with the product. And for some reason, I just don't like that. I feel like it gets the product everywhere. It makes it feel even more like gunky and sticky. I feel like every time I have to push it back with like the end of a brush, it just makes the brows look less natural. If you watched my last brow tutorial where I used the Got To Be spiking gel, I was like, oh my god, those brows are so freaking bushy. They were so pushed back and thick and dark. It's definitely a look. I get why people like it. I think just for me, when I look back on it, the brows were the only thing that I can focus on because they were just like the most outstanding feature, and I think it drowned out the rest of my face. Oops. I know a lot of people liked that tutorial, so I don't want to bash on it, but it's definitely not my favorite brow look anymore. So this is what the brows look like with the Anastasia Brow Freeze and the Dip Brow Pomade. Let me know which of these brows you liked the most, and if you use any of these brow products, let me know, or if you have tips and tricks. I hope you liked this video and you found it helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!